Tonight, we are in the Windy City at the virtual track of Chicagoland Speedway, where we enter round 4 of the Sim Speed Shop Xfinity Series Chase for Extreme Motorsports 99.com. Of course, here on MaxSpeedTV here tonight, I am Gary Wells on the mic, alongside alongside Blair Patterson, while we're filling in for Josh here, who will be on cameras this evening. Tonight, Blair, we're at Chicagoland Speedway. It's a mile and a half. Definitely, similar to what we've seen most of this season, but it's a little bit different from the others.
Yeah, Chicago's definitely got some interesting features to it. That back straightaway is not exactly straight, so should provide for a whole lot of really great racing out here tonight.
Yeah, we've definitely hit up on that back straightaway a time or two here in Extreme. It's definitely not straight for sure, so these guys are definitely always turning around this racetrack. A lot of bumps. This track definitely has some character to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the good news about the character is those drivers use those bumps to help get their car into the corner. Like for example, getting down into turn one, there's a patch of asphalt that everybody uses as their turn-in mark. So it's a whole lot of fun to drive this track, which provides awesome racing. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, we definitely will see a lot of side-by-side racing here tonight, but we've got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and hit our pre-race analytics real quick. We've got 133 laps tonight, 199.5 miles. Pace speed going to be 65 miles per hour, with that pit speed being 50 miles per hour, or 65, I'm sorry, for the pace speed there. The fuel and tire window tonight, we're looking anywhere from 30 to 40 laps for these guys on both the fuel and the gas. So seems to be pretty even so far. And of course, the winds are coming from the west, northwest, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Right now, the air temp at 73 degrees, with the track temp at 76, but that's only going to fall as we get into the nighttime.
Yeah, once that big fireball drops out of the sky, it's going to cool right off, going to cool the track down, and it's definitely going to change the way these cars drive. So I look forward to seeing what these guys are saying about the temperatures once they start to drop.
Yeah, and it seems like at most mile and a halves, whenever the sun goes down, it seems like these guys fight a more tight condition. So it'll be interesting to see how the cars seem to handle here as we get into the race portion. But first and foremost, we've got our driver points. We've got the chase here this evening. We're entering round 4. And Blair, you've got the top 6, and it looks like we've got a whale of a battle pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, so leading the way right now is David Weishart in the points. But 1 point back is Alan Elwood. 17 points back from him is Bryce Sinasak. Cale Gale, 21 points out of the lead. Jeffrey Creek is 26 points out of the lead. And in 6th place is GT Hawkins, 30 points out of the lead. So pretty tight.
Yeah, definitely pretty tight amongst our top 6. In 7th place, not too far behind, Nicholas Roman. He's 34 back to our leader. Then it's David Elliott, who lost 4 spots last week after a tough run at Darlington a couple of weeks ago. He's 39 back. Then we've got a tie for 9th between Garrett Heath and Ed Morris, with, it looks like, 40 points back behind our leader. Then, of course, Jacob Bell in 11th. He's 51 back behind our leader. And rounding out our chase field is Nick Hunt with 1,072 points. He is 62 points behind.
Yeah, great battle. So look forward to seeing some really good racing all over the track. You know, we've got guys that are not in the points race that are out here playing spoiler, and some of those guys are really fast out here in practice tonight.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of them. We've got Andrew Mraz looking up here pretty good in practice. Michael Mueller looks like he's put down a really good lap. So definitely going to be interesting. Justin Gann, Matthew Welzenbach, looks like they're just inside the top 10, a little bit outside of that. But we've got a lot of different guys up here that we don't normally see, and it's definitely going to play an interesting hand in how this race goes.
Yeah, I've been looking at long run speeds, 5 and 10 lap averages. Right now, there's a few guys that have done 15 lap runs, and those guys that are doing the 15 lap runs, I see 6 of them so far. Those guys are really setting their car up to know what it's going to be doing on the long run, which Chicago tends to provide some long runs. So some of these guys are really preparing for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to prepare and to be ready for just about anything that iRacing will throw at you. Well, let's go ahead, take some time. We'll be right back. We're going to play the national anthem, but after that, we'll have qualifying and, of course, team points to go down.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran last, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free, and the home of the brave? Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight to remain the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the US of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the
All right, and we are back after the national anthem. We are now in qualifying here for Chicagoland here this evening. These guys usually get about 5 minutes to go ahead and make their 2 laps. And of course, the top 12 get that bonus point for being in one of our top 12 qualifiers this evening. But here tonight, that track position is definitely going to play a key role, isn't it, Blair?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it a lot at other tracks. Like, I was listening to you guys talk about Darlington the other week, And track position's key there. Track position's key everywhere, especially when these drivers are this good. So getting a good qualifying run is going to be very important for these guys tonight.
Yeah, definitely getting that good qualifying run and getting that good pit stall as well. Pit stall selection definitely going to be very key here. But we've got team points to go down. I've got the Xfinity stuff, and Blair's got the overall. But let's go ahead. We're in the Xfinity Series tonight, so let's go ahead and talk about it. This is after Darlington from a couple weeks ago. We've got the Virtual Racing Alliance leading in the Xfinity points with 947. At second place, it's Samson with 837. So Virtual Racing Alliance has a commanding lead. In third place, we've got Performance Motorsports with 804. Then in fourth place, we've got Primetime with 759, Jacob Bell Racing or JBR with 681. In sixth place, we've got Hyperdrive with 626. Then it's Proformance Motorsports with 621. In eighth place, it's Maverick with 609. And then rounding it out here in the Xfinity Series, we've got Downforce Motorsports with 334.
Well, I have the team points here, and Samson is leading the team points with 4,132. Second place is Performance with 3678. Third place is Primetime with 3622. Hyperdrive in fourth, 3334. Virtual Racing Alliance in fifth, 3315. Performance, 3163. Seventh, Jacob Bell Racing with 3,080 points. Eighth place, Maverick Motorsports with 2,714. And in ninth place, bringing up the rear, is Downforce Motorsports at 2,207 points.
Yeah, definitely Downforce has really struggled this season. I know they finished second or third last season, and they have dropped significantly this season. Well, still in qualifying here. And we kind of alluded to with the track position as we're seeing some guys go around the track right now. It looks like Cale Gale is our provisional pole sitter here. So we've got a couple more minutes left in qualifying. He's laid down a 39.83. And Blair, I think that's going to be pretty tough to beat.
That is a strong lap for qualifying right there. I think he can be beat, but...
he just got beat with Nicholas Rowan. By 1,000th of a second.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Michael Mueller currently the provisional pole sitter with a 30.86. So these guys, what's the difference? Obviously they trim these cars up to go really fast for a couple laps, but it's definitely tricky with this tire model.
Yeah, that's the whole thing on the tire model, is hitting your marks and getting the most speed out of the car and having the smoothest lap possible. If you look at these times, well, there's Cameron Hearn just popped up the second there. I mean, if you look at these times, these guys are all very, very, very close to each other. I mean, within a tenth of a second through the top seven as of right now. So it's just very minor adjustments that these guys are making.
Yeah, and it looks like all within, a second from first to 20th. It looks like within, a half a second. So these guys are all very close together. So it's definitely going to play out for some really good racing here this evening. But it looks like qualifying's got about 45 more seconds left. But of course, Blair, we all know top 12 gets that bonus point. And that definitely is going to play a factor for our championship contenders, as we see David Weishart and Alan Elwood are separated by just 1 point.
Yeah, and currently both of them are in the top 12 in qualifying, so no advantage here yet. Elwood sitting in ninth. He could get bumped, but it would take some guys to lay down some laps to do it. So that 1 point advantage is still hanging in strong there for Mr. Weishart.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're wrapping up qualifying here, it looks like 5 seconds left on the clock here for these guys. As qualifying's officially over, it looks like track is closed. Looks like Michael Mueller is going to be our official pole sitter here tonight.
And I believe that's his first pole of the season. Good to see Michael Mueller up there, not in the chase points, but good to see him up there and running good again. And
absolutely.
That's the MaxSpeedTV car, if I'm not mistaken.
You are definitely not mistaken. That is the MaxSpeedTV car. Guys, we know this is not rigged. We do not rig the results here, but it is very nice to see Michael qualifying good. I know he
Speak for yourself. I gave him secret tires.
Right. But yeah, we normally don't see Michael qualifying that good. He took the last couple of weeks off due to some family issues. Glad to see him back on track and stuff. So good to see him back here. And of course, as these guys are in the driver's meeting, I'm going to put you on the spot here, guys. I've already got Josh's pick for the evening, but Blair, who do you think is going to win this race tonight?
I'm going with the number 83 of Cale Gale. That's my pick to win this thing tonight.
Okay, that is a very good pick there, Cale Gale. I believe he's in one of our chase contenders. If I'm not mistaken, he is. He's fourth in points coming into tonight. I've got David Weishart. That's my pick, and I know Josh picked Nicholas Vroman, and I believe he is one of our top 12. He is starting in that 7th spot. So looks like we've picked typical suspects that seem to run really good on these mile and a halves. Let's go over that top 12, Blair. Currently in qualifying as it's concluded. I'll take top 6 and you'll take 7 through 12 here. Michael Mueller, of course, on our poll. We've already covered that a little bit. But Tommy Haynes, he's going to be starting in that 2nd spot. 3rd, followed by David Weishart. 4th, that 09 of Bryce Sinisak. 5th is going to be Alan Elwood, old Alwood, as Josh would call him there. And then in 6th place, we've got Cameron Hearn.
And in 7th is Josh's pick, Nicholas Vroman. 8th, my pick, Cale Gale. 9th is Mike Rominger. 10th will be the number 51 of Jeffrey Creek. 11th is going to be Garrett D. Grant. And rounding out the top 12, getting that bonus point, is the number 42, Mr. David Elliott, which he was picked in the chat. He was picked as a lock in the chat.
Oh, a lock in the chat.
Yeah,
Oh.
M&M's Racing Late Night. David Elliott is the lock.
All right. Okay. Well, that's definitely good to see. And of course, all you guys in chat, go ahead. Begin to drop your picks if you haven't done so already. Obviously, M&M's Racing has done so. So y'all go ahead and make your picks. And of course, as these guys are in the drivers meeting, I do want to go ahead and shout out to our sponsors, Sim Speed Shop, for letting us for sponsoring, of course, the Xfinity Series. And, of course, shout out to Rick Donathan, owner of the league here tonight. He is, of course, he runs this show and lets us go ahead and broadcast these races. And, of course, we've got, it looks like Don Kidder as the lone admin here this evening for tonight's race. So good to see him up there. And Andy as well. Good to see them both up in the booth. So tonight, Blair, going to be very interesting here. I think we might be able to see more than one groove like we saw in the K&N race here earlier this season.
Yeah, the K&N race here earlier this season, for what I recall, was a pretty good one. I was out there bumping and grinding and sweating, but from what I've been told, it was a good race. Definitely multiple lines to race on.
Yeah, looks like hopefully we might even see the high lane. I know I was looking in practice, a couple of guys were trying to experiment with that 3rd lane up from the bottom there, about middle of the track. So hopefully it breaks in, because I know Chicagoland could definitely give these drivers a lot of options.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's grip top to bottom out there. That top lane usually comes in a little bit later when the cars get a little bit tighter. That's when the top lane typically gets really, really nice. You're going to see everybody fighting for the bottom, would be my guess, in this first run on fuel and tires. And then from there, it's going to get really wild.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And hopefully we'll get to see a lot of green flag racing here tonight. But also, we've got to give a couple shout outs here for that sponsor, MaxSpeed, a couple of flag sponsors here. Of course, every single green flag is going to be sponsored by the All Paws Animal Hospital. They're located in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. So if you got a pet and you're in that area, go check them out. And of course, every single white flag here tonight, well, there's only going to be one, but the white flag tonight is going to be sponsored by Lodgebox. And of course, for all your building and construction needs across the Southeast United States, visit lodgebox.build. Build with us.
I'm looking over here in the chat, Gary. There's a couple of picks coming in. Pierce is going with Cameron Hearn. Cameron Hearn has hopped in the chat with 4, looks like bombs. So I think he appreciates Pierce picking him. Spencer Bell
Put
is going
some
to go
respect on his name there.
Put some respect on his name, that's for sure. Spencer Bell is going to go with the number 24.
Garrett Grant, not a bad pick. Solid pick right there. Yeah, and Cameron Hearn, I believe he is one of our non-chasers, so he's looking to spoil the party if he can here this evening. So, gonna be an interesting race for sure. Well, looks like so far here tonight we've got 17 watching and 12 likes so far here on this wonderful stream here. Don't forget, smash that like button. Let's go ahead and start it up here for 20 likes. See if we can hit that 20 like mark there. And I know there's only 17 of us in there in chat right now, but go ahead, share it on your social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, I guess, if you got it. And then, of course, Blair, I'm going to break out the old school one. You ready? Josh always breaks this one out. MySpace. If you got a MySpace, feel free to share that one out.
I'm going to have to get it on my MySpace. That way Tom can like it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I never had I've never had a MySpace, so there's that. So,
well, you're a young man, sir. You're a very young man.
Well, yes, that is very true.
So, since we have a minute, when like MySpace was fizzling away and Facebook was coming out, there's like 3 or 4 different platforms and nobody really knew what the one was going to be. And I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm keeping MySpace forever. I'm not changing it. I was wrong. I now have Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like our drivers meeting is over here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our pole sitter. Michael Mueller. Gary Wells up in the booth. Got a copy.
What's happening?
Dude, you tell me. Pole? Congratulations.
I don't know what's going on. I think everybody let me have it, or the stars aligned, or the Earth is on its perfect axis, or something. I don't know what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, you're starting first here tonight, of course, in the MaxSpeedTV Ford. Tell us, man, got that first starting spot. You got the first pit stall here tonight. Spoiler alert, you got to try to win this thing because you're not in the chase or anything, but definitely go try to take some points from our guys, huh?
Absolutely. You got to play spoiler. I feel really good. Race should be really good. Cars not handling too bad. It's going to get a little tight as the sun goes down, but going to try to get this MaxSpeedTV car a win, a top 5, anything better than what we've been doing. So going to roll off first, and that's already a huge win for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We know you haven't had the best year down there, but we'll go ahead and let you go. But Blair, you got anything? Any good luck wishes for this guy as we let him go?
Yeah, I told our viewers here that since that's the MaxSpeedTV car, I gave you a secret set of tires on there. So don't burn them up too fast for us.
Well, I'll see what I can do, but if you got a whole bunch of those, could you roll those down to the 46 pit box, please?
I'll see what I can do. You know, this week has been daylight savings time, a full moon, and a Friday the 13th. I might be able to pull something off for you, buddy.
Well, I hope so. If I get a win, I'll owe you a big one. How about that?
Fair enough. Good luck, buddy.
Right. See you later, guys.
Absolutely. Good luck, Michael. Well, that was always fun and entertaining, of course, whenever we get to pull up a driver, especially Michael Mueller. Definitely is taking the more calm approach this evening.
Yeah, he's a pretty laid-back dude and a pretty laid-back driver, and that's one of the reasons why he's typically so fast. Like you hit on it a little earlier that he's not having the greatest year, but we all know Michael Mueller's a great driver. And one thing that I think is because of his demeanor and attitude, which what makes him so great behind the wheel, he can keep his cool.
Yeah, absolutely. He could definitely keep his cool behind the wheel. For the most part, of course, not every driver is perfect when it comes to that, but for the most part, definitely Michael definitely knows how to keep his calm and keep things collected as much as he can.
Alan Elwood in chat. He must not be busy. He must have left the drivers' meeting, checked out the chat. He's thanking all the viewers for coming out and supporting. And I also want to thank everybody for watching so far and hitting that like button.
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for you fans, we definitely would not be here, be able to put on this race. And I know Josh definitely appreciates it. And of course, I'll be speaking on behalf of him and MaxSpeedTV for this opportunity to be able to go ahead and do this here tonight in place of him. So, again, not looking to replace anybody, but definitely always a good opportunity to come up here and help Josh out in the booth. But we're getting ready here for the race. Still a little under 5 minutes left to go. What are you kind of expecting with this race tonight, Blair? What are you kind of seeing with our points points guys here. It looks like David Weishart and, of course, Alan Elwood will be starting on the inside lane, right behind each other, of course, with our point leader starting in third, and then Alan Elwood starting in that fifth spot.
Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. You know, the points guys all qualified pretty well. Then what I was looking at, I talked about it a little bit earlier tonight. I was looking at 5 lap and 10 lap averages in practice, and Brandon Freeze was really fast in the 5 and 10 lap averages. Didn't have the qualifying run that he wanted. He qualified 19th, so be looking to him to run up to the front. So that's the exciting part for me, is watching these guys that didn't qualify exactly where they wanted to, but were really fast in practice. So that's what I'm going to be watching for.
Yeah, definitely for sure. That's going to be a wild card of how these guys will be able to maintain their tires. Doesn't matter if it's daytime, nighttime, with it being a worn track as this place is. Tire management is always going to play a key role. And of course, we all know Brandon. We've seen him race before. I race with him, all the time. He likes to pull out that Kevin Harvick throwback scheme. So I wonder what he has here tonight.
Yeah, I haven't seen his car. I was just I was simply looking at stats, so I haven't seen his car yet. That's the other thing that I really like about iRacing, and especially in this series with ExtremeMotorsports99.com, is all the different paint schemes. And I'm sure somebody's going to have something out there tonight that's going to be interesting to look at and at least talk about for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when the Chrome idea first came out for iRacing, I think it was in the first week. Tommy Haynes, it seemed like in both the Xfinity and the Cup Series, he did an all chrome car, and honestly, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, iRacing's done a lot of really cool updates when it comes to the paint schemes and all that. I was actually looking at different paint schemes earlier today and thinking about changing up some of my cars. And man, there's just so many cool ideas out there with the chrome and the matte, and then more of a traditional kind of setup as well. It's one of my favorite things about iRacing that's not the actual racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just goes to show that iRacing, it's really one big community. You can kind of point yourself in many different directions, whether that's painting cars, broadcasting like we're doing right now, racing. And then, of course, if you're not any good at those things, they still need spotters and setup builders all the time. It seems like, of course, as we get to the Coke series for what used to be the Peak series and that kind of stuff, just seems like there's always a use for pretty much anything and everyone.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing about iRacing. There's a spot for everybody to get in the community and fill the void of racing for them. From, like you said, painting to setups to spotters to drivers to broadcasters. I mean, the list goes on and on forever. I mean, it's a ton of fun, and I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to do a little bit of everything so far.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you get to dabble in a little bit of everything, of course, we're both racers first, Blair. We definitely like getting behind the wheel and winning a lot. So it's definitely fun being out here on this track, and I definitely have noticed that it helps when you're broadcasting a race. You can kind of explain things a little bit better as opposed to when you're not.
Yeah, when I got the call this afternoon that I was going to be helping out here in the booth, and I was super glad to get the call. One of the first things I did was take the Xfinity car out here to Chicago and run some test laps just to see what these drivers would have in store. So I'm just super excited for this race. I can't wait to get it going. Looks like we're under a minute from gridding.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, as you were alluding to earlier with the test sessions, I know you were telling me earlier you were making some laps around Atlanta. And of course, they're different in shape, but definitely has the same principles with the tire management between the two tracks for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that communicate between these tracks. I mean, if you listen to the NASCAR guys, the Cup guys, and they talk about their notebook. There's a lot of things between different tracks that can really help them out. iRacing is no different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tonight here, we're getting ready to go on to the starting grid. Blair, you already kind of know the drill. I'll take the top 10, you take the next 10, so on and so forth till we run out of cars.
All right.
All right, so here we go. First place tonight on the pole, going to be with that 30.865, the 46 MaxSpeedTV machine. Michael Mueller going to be taking the pole. Second place, Tommy Haynes in that 17 car. Third place in the 88 there, David Weishart. Fourth place looks like Bryce Senesac in the 09. Fifth place, rounding out our top five, is going to be Alan Elwood. The sixth place, we've got Cameron Hearn. Seventh place, Nicholas Roman. Eighth place, Cale Gale. Ninth place, Mike Rominger. And rounding out our top 10 is going to be Jeff Creek.
Rolling off 11 is going to be the number 24 of Garrett D. Grant. 12th is going to be David Elliott. 13th is going to be Matthew Walzenbach. 14th is going to be Michael Thwaites. And in 15th is going to be the number 30 of Justin Gann. Garrett Heath rolling off 16th. Zach Ogburn in the 87 rolling off 17th. Rolling off 18th in the number 99, Andrew Moraz. Rolling off 19th, number 2, Brandon Freeze. And 20th in the number 11, Mr. Casey Duncan.
And a nice Darrell Waltrip throwback scheme at that. And 21st here tonight is going to be Nick Hunt in the 00. 22nd in that 7 machine is going to be Ed Morris. 23rd, it looks like it's going to be GT Hawkins. 24th, going to be Gary May. 25th, Jacob Bell in the 77. And 26th is going to be Timothy Zayas in the 22. And 27th, it's going to be Darren Clement. And it looks like in 28th and 29th is going to be our admins, Andy Starcher and Don Kidder. That, of course, they're not gridding. And then, of course, rounding out the field tonight is going to be Tommy Amassi in the 05.
Speaking of some of these guys back here in the mid to upper 20s, when I was talking about practice speeds and all that, Darren Clement looks like he's going to be rolling off 37th. He was really good in practice, so watch for him to charge through the field. I watched Jacob Bell's qualifying attempt. Didn't work out so well for him. He was trying to get all the goodie out of it, so he's going to be starting deep in the field, so keep an eye on him as well in that 77 machine.
Yeah, and of course, I never want to count out that 14 car either. GT Hawkins, he always seems to have a good feel for the race car anywhere we go. May not win a whole lot of races. I know he's got 2 wins on the year, but he is definitely a guy that'll be one to watch for driving up through this pack as well.
Yeah, absolutely. GT's he's a contender every week out here in these cars. Great driver, clean driver. So he's going to be one to watch coming from the back as well. You're absolutely right, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, we're going to have all green flags sponsored by All Paws Animal Hospital. Of course, Josh not feeling too well tonight, so we're not going to have the boogity at the very beginning. So we'll be taking the start here. I'm not... Blair, do you have a good boogity? I don't.
You know, I am not a boogity eater.
Neither am I. So this is going to be one lame start to the race. I'm just kidding. It's going to be a fun one here. All Paws Animal Hospital green flag. Pace car in turn number 3, getting ready to start off this 4th race of the chase at Chicagoland. Waiting for him to dive off to the safety of pit road as we get this thing underway. Pace car about to make the hard left turn. There it goes. Michael Mueller's the control car. Looks like green flag's going to be in the air. We're underway at Chicagoland. Everybody starting off 2 by 2.
That was a good start there, Gary. Even though you didn't give a boogity, but they're 2 by 2 all the way down into turn 1. These guys are just figuring out what they got under them right here. Shouldn't see anything too crazy to start off the race. Probably some 2 wide racing, and we're going to get strung out single file here sooner or later.
Yeah, definitely for sure. These guys going to try to give each other a lot of room, try to get to the bottom of that racetrack, and just feel each other out. Maybe some give and take here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 133 laps out here tonight. You definitely can't win the race on the first lap, but you can definitely lose it. And it looks like we had a good, clean first lap. Some good competition still going on out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like there was a battle there for the 7th spot. Cale Gale taking that spot over there. Cale Gale taking that spot over Mike Rominger. And then, of course, these guys, not quite a single file yet. Tommy Amassi maybe trying to battle for that 2nd spot. He's going to let Bryce Senesac have it. But it looks like Alan Elwood trying to make some moves here early as well. Yeah,
I'm watching a little deeper in the field, about 10th spot, watching Jeffrey Creek battling with the 24. Some good battles there, getting it straightened out. Looks like Jeffrey Creek got around him there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeffrey Creek getting around him there, and looks like these guys still aren't done battling. It looks like Matthew Welsenbach kind of bounced off the outside wall there going in turn 3.
Yeah, and that's something that you got to be really careful about these cars, especially at a track like this. Aerodynamics is going to be important, especially on these Xfinity cars. You got to be really careful to not wrinkle up a fender here, especially early on.
Yeah, and I know you can get away with bouncing these cars off a little more as opposed to the Cup cars, but you still want to keep that car in good shape. As we got a nice battle here between Justin Gann and Casey Duncan there for the 17th spot.
Yeah, I'm watching this. I heard you mention Casey's paint scheme earlier today, so I'm taking a good look at it while they're battling for 17th back here. Ed Morris is getting in the mix, which is one of our chase drivers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it looks like Ed Morris is one of our chase drivers. Didn't get the qualifying run he wanted, but he is definitely going to be one of those guys to watch for. Definitely one of the more consistent guys for sure. He's going to be trying to fight in his way up into the top 10 here soon. And look at Brandon Freeze. He started in 20th or started 19th, back down to 20th for the moment. But I think he's just letting these guys try to race it out, racing side by side with his teammate there, Casey Duncan. Just trying to get a feel for his car, I would imagine.
Yeah, just seeing what he's got under him here right away. He didn't have the qualifying run that he wanted. We touched on that a little bit earlier, so he might just be a little gun shy here in these first few laps. But he'll get it figured out. He was really good in practice earlier today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it looks like just to give an update with our top 9 here, top 10. Everybody is of course single file. Not really much of a battle here between places 1 and 2. Of course, Michael Mueller having a pretty solid lead here, about 0.3 of a second ahead there of that 88 of David Weishart, and then of course Bryce Sinisek not too far behind that 3rd spot.
I almost had to pull up my inner Joshua Medlock here as GT Hawkins was looking to make it 3 wide. Didn't quite get it there, but these guys are racing hard back here in this 19th to 20th position with the guys that struggled with qualifying.
Yeah, these guys are definitely racing hard, and especially for sure with GT Hawkins. He's one of our chase contenders, trying to get up there, make a little bit of noise. He's 6th in points, not too far away. 30 points, still very doable here with a couple races left. Needs to come out here and put on a dominating performance tonight, and hope some of the top runners have some bad luck.
Yeah, being
trouble, back straightaway, 24-32, Darren Clement, Garrett Grant, and Zach Ogburn. 3 wide there on the backstretch, and it looked like there was some contact there. 24 had a little bit of help. The 24, Garrett Grant, coming off of turn number 2, was up against the wall here. And then, of course, there was contact between the 24 and the 32, and Zach Ogburn there in the 87 with nowhere to go.
Yeah, I just hate it for the 87 there on a deal like that. Well, you hate it for all these guys, really, but the 87 just hit a bad place at a bad time. Looks like the 24 moved up a little bit, and 32, they might have had a little contact there. Hard to say from the angle that I got. Hate to see that so early for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of watching it again here. Looked like maybe the 24 moved up, but maybe the 32 was actually just trying to make a move to the inside and either clipped the left rear quarter there of Garrett Grant, or the air just kind of moved Garrett's car around to where just spun him around. But it looks like everybody going to be coming down pit road here.
Yeah, absolutely. What are we, 9 laps into this? I'd be getting tires on for sure. We had that first little run, just get it in here, get some tires, and check everything out, make sure everything's heading in the right direction for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you get about a 10-lap run, you definitely want to come in and get some tires. Casey Duncan just drove down pit road. I don't know if he missed a stall or if he only took 2, but looks like he's going to be the first car off pit road.
That's very interesting. Let's see if I can take a look and see what Casey did, see if he just did a tour of pit road or if he actually stopped here. Hard to say with what I'm seeing right now.
Well, according to what I'm seeing here with Josh, he's got the OBS, he's got all the fancy numbers up there. Looked like he was telling me he just missed a stall. So very unfortunate there for Casey. He's probably going to come back down again, wouldn't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't stay out at this point. I'd come back in, get my tires put on. Maybe with that new Mountain Dew paint scheme, he missed his pit crew in their new uniforms and his new pit sign.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing too. These drivers, it's not like the video games where they just when you drive it on pit road, the AI does it for you. Here in iRacing, you've got to drive down pit road yourself, maintain pit speed by yourself, and make sure you're watching your marks there and your pit sign and your the pit crew uniforms. All those things come into account.
It's actually, believe it or not, it's actually one of the harder parts of iRacing to get used to. I mean, going out there and making laps and being fast and being consistent, yeah, that's extremely difficult as well. But the holding the pit road speed limit right at that speed limit and hitting your box and hitting your marks and all that, I mean, it sounds really dumb to say, but it's really hard to do.
Yeah, and there are drivers that will come into these league races, especially because most of the work that these guys put in comes in during the week or on the weekends, preparing for the next race. They'll take hundreds of laps around the track, making sure they get their marks right. But usually, the 40 minutes of practice, we don't really see. I mean, we'll see them maybe run qualifying trim, of course, Blair. But most of these guys, they're working on practicing coming in and out of pit road as well. Because there have been a time or two, I know, speaking for myself, where either the pit sign didn't come down on iRacing because sometimes it glitches, or I just miss it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've done that. I've done a lot of practice and felt really comfortable at a track, and I used the 40 minutes here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com practice just to do qualifying runs, go out run 2 fast laps, and as soon as that fast lap is over, practice hitting pit road for green flag stops and hitting your marks on the box.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know some of these guys as well. They'll run as hard as they can for either half a fuel run or 3/4 of a fuel run. And they'll practice green flag stops, where these guys will come in, try to go in as hard as they can without spinning the car or getting down pit road. And when these tires were out, Blair, it's definitely very tricky coming in for a green flag stop.
Yeah, it can be a handful. Looks like lights are out on the pace car. Looks like Michael Mueller will be taking the bottom here. Casey Duncan must have pitted because he's not up here anymore.
Yeah, either he pitted or he was given an EOL. But go ahead, Blair. Why don't you get him going here this start?
Oh boy. Now that is some excitement right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we know the lights are off on that pace car coming in here through turns 3 and 4.
Yep, so right here, drivers are making sure that they're in the gear that they want to restart in. Everything is where they're ready to go. The race will be in control by Michael Mueller, so he'll get to choose when to go once the pace car is down and out of the way. So that's what he's waiting on right now. Which, speaking of which, pace car's down, and Mueller is firing out of the hole. Green flag back in the air. Too wide. Everybody's got a really good restart. Some really good jumps, especially on this outside. Jeffrey Creek out of a cannon here.
Yeah, really good timing there. I noticed with Kale Gale on back, might have been a little bit of wheel spin there with some of these guys. A lot of guys all over the back bumpers of each other here. I was beginning to wonder if there was going to be a caution there.
Yeah, and making sure you're in the right gear and timing the restart is very important too. You see some of these guys that seem to fire off really well. Those are the guys that are really good at restarts. Then you see it gets stacked up sometimes. That means somebody wasn't really good at a restart. We got some really good battles going down into turn 1 here.
Yeah, we do, especially for that. It looks like that 12th, the 13th spot there with Matthew Welsenbach and Garrett Heath. These guys battling side by side pretty hard here. First noticeable battle, and then of course Justin Gann, the 30, and Ed Morris in the 7. Looks like for about 16th spot. Looks like Ed Morris is going to take that here going into turn number 3 this time.
Yeah, these guys are getting all they can on these fresh tires right now. So these tires, it takes a couple laps for them to get up to temperature, to get to their optimum grip. And then, so some of these guys are getting there a little bit faster and taking advantage of this. Other guys just trying to fall in line and log some laps here because we've still got a long way to go tonight.
Absolutely a long way to go. Looks like did Ed Morris Senior or Ed Morris, did he hit the wall there coming off of 2? Because he's all the way up against the wall now as we come through 3 and 4 this time.
Oh, I didn't see that there. I must have missed that one. I've been watching some of the other battles up here, watching Tommy Haynes and Cale Gale and Jeffrey Creek all right around here in this 6th position, starting to go at it a little bit.
Yeah, these guys definitely battling hard here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. As Josh is probably already on that, but definitely the top 6 here. Looks like Andrew Moraz going to the inside of the 9 car of Mike Rominger, trying to take that 10th spot away here pretty early.
Yeah, some really good racing. I'm seeing a lot of 2 wide, some guys looking at 3 wide. I mean, there's some absolutely exciting battles going on out here. It's hard to keep up with all the action.
Yeah, definitely can be for sure. These guys here, I want to ask you, Blair. We talked about restarts and how critical they are, but they can really make and break your race, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the restart's very important to get a good start and to get to the line that you want to be at, because, you know, we restart 2 wide, and if your car, you prefer being on the bottom, you know, and you're restarting on the top, you got to do everything you can to get down to the bottom safely and cleanly, and vice versa. If you're on the bottom, want to be on the top. Like I said in the pre-race, most of these guys are going to be fighting for the bottom here early on. It looks like hugging that white line down there is the way to go. So on a restart, you got to decide, are you going to get ahead of this guy next to you, or are you going to fall in behind him? Because, you know, you can't just drive through him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did see a nice pass there for third a couple laps ago between Alan Elwood and Bryce Sinisak. Alan just pulled a very textbook pass here at Chicagoland, got down to the bottom, saw the 09 kind of drift up the track, but it's starting to heat up here for the lead as well. It looks like David Weishart, he's going to be looking to the inside here of Michael.
Yeah,
and he will definitely take command of that lead spot. Looks like Michael's just going to let him go here on the bottom side.
Yeah, and that could be a strategy call on Michael's part right now, knowing that it's fairly early in this run. Let David go, get him out there in front, and then maybe you could fall in behind him and learn something. You know, of course, Michael was on the pole, so he definitely knows how to get around here, but he might just be falling in behind and getting a free lesson on how to get around Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, definitely, and consistency is one of those key things. As Michael's all over the back bumper of David now. Michael looks like he got a little bit loose going through those bumps, and Alan Elwood's right on his back bumpers. He's looking to the inside now.
Yeah, he's definitely getting pressure on the inside from the 5, so he's going to have to give a little room getting down into the corner, and Michael obviously likes the bottom a little bit better. That's why he restarted on the bottom. So he's going to have to close this door on the 09 of Bryce Sinisak. Otherwise, he might be giving up another spot, which he did. He got right in line there behind the 5.
Yeah, he did. He got right in line behind the 5 there. Definitely, I noticed he's been cutting it in pretty close there to the white line on entry, where it looks like some of these other guys are taking a little bit more of an arc into the corner.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to attack the corners here at Chicago. There's the arc it in, get down, late apex, and get a good drive off kind of line, which that's basically what the leaders all did right there through 1 and 2. Then there's the get in there, attack the bottom, drive it through the center of the corner, and get as much on the corner exit as possible. Now, the downside of getting in and attacking it low is you're going to eat up that right front tire quicker than the guy that arcs it in and does the late apex bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and that will really pay into effect into your 5-lap, 10-lap, 15-lap averages that you were talking about in pre-race.
Yeah, absolutely, and all that is important because, 46, Michael Mueller, little bit of touch on the wall there.
Yeah, and he's falling back now.
Yeah, Cameron Hearn got a little squirrely there. Looks like the 17 had a huge run and
closed
the door on him.
Absolutely. Look at these guys here. They're all piled on top of each other. Tommy Haynes here, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Looks like all the way for 12. These guys are all battling it out here.
Yeah, big old pile of them back here right now. And that was just a product of the 46 getting into the wall, 17 having a huge run, 17 having to check up on his huge run, and tightened up this pack quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you let up, especially in these stock cars nowadays, they've taken a lot of the horsepower away. Any off-throttle time definitely does play a huge part.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the key to racing is
these guys are almost 3 wide coming down the front stretch. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, go ahead. If there's 3 wide, grab your inner Josh Medlock and scrape it out for me. I need that.
For sure, I'll do my best. As these guys are almost 3 wide once again, coming down the backstretch, coming off of turn 2. These guys all here in a pack for 6 on back, 5th spot, 6 box, all the way back to, it looks like, Nicholas Froman there in 11th.
Yeah,
and that's only going to bring in, of course, the 29 and the 23, this second pack here of these guys in the 12th spot on the back.
Absolutely. So the guys ahead of this pack are loving it because this pack is racing so hard that these guys are giving up a little bit of lap time right here to the leaders, and the guys behind it are loving it because they're giving up lap time and being able to be reeled in.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, drafting does play a role here at Chicagoland. Definitely don't want it in the corners, but down the straightaway can definitely give you a nice little tow coming down these straightaways here.
Yeah, so if you look at lap times on that last lap, and you look at the 99 of Andrew Mraz, who's right in the middle of this dogfight back here, he's about a half second off of the lap that Ellen Elwood, our leader, ran, which we had a change in lead, but we've been back here looking at this. I just looked up. It's Elwood leading now.
Yeah, Elwood just took the lead here a little bit ago. And, you know, David Weishart not exactly going away.
Yeah, it looks like he's staying right there with him. So good battle for 1 and 2. Bryce Sinisek third, Cameron Hearn running fourth, and Cale Gale rounded out the top 5 right now.
Yeah, Cale Gale having an excellent start to this race so far, running really solid, and of course just really good racing all over the track here. But definitely these guys here from fifth on back, it's a dogfight with these guys still.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I can't take my eyes off of this pack right here just because these are really good guys. Ooh, number 9 up in the wall a little bit. Rominger just had a little scrape up there.
And we've got another exchange hands for the lead as well. David Weishart taking the lead back from Alan Elwood.
Well, it like somebody's watching the front.
And it looked like David just pulled on another textbook pass here at Chicagoland going through turns 3 and 4. The 5 car just drifted up just a little bit. David was able to keep it down to the bottom just a little bit longer, was able to take his momentum down the straightaway here.
And that's the key word right there that you just said, Gary, momentum, especially with these cars. So we were talking about off-throttle time just a minute ago, and momentum's the biggest thing. You want to be able to take this car as fast as you can through these corners to keep the momentum up and keep all the straightaway speed in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing these guys approach, just about 190, maybe 195 on new tires. But with these tires starting to fall off just a little bit of this, about this 15-lap run here, these guys still going pretty quick, especially down that front straightaway.
Yeah, I was watching David Weishart's speed there. He was in the upper 180s still, so definitely toting the mail here as we're getting into this run. We're about 20 laps on this set of tires. So these guys, they're starting to feel a little wear on here, but obviously still some great racing going on.
Yeah, and that's definitely when the track is at its best and when the tires are at its best. You get that even amount of tire wear and the track being a little bit rough. When these guys start slipping and sliding around, they go 2 or 3 wide around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus that fuel burns off a little bit, which makes the car a little lighter, which would make it faster if it had brand new tires under it. But, you know, the tires wearing off and the lighter car still makes it a lot of fun to drive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And iRacing has worked really hard on making this Xfinity car really fun to drive.
Oh, there's not a bad car to drive on the iRacing surface, but this Xfinity car is one of the more fun ones to drive, in my opinion.
Yeah, and of course the Cup car is unique. It has its own features, as we'll see tomorrow night as they come back here to Chicagoland. But the Cup car and Xfinity car drive way different.
Oh, they're night and day difference. I mean, you know, just a casual view looking at them, they look very similar. But when it comes to drivability and the way they handle and the way you got to approach corners and your marks on getting back on the gas, I mean, they're 2 definitely different race cars.
Yeah, 2 definitely different race cars. The Cup car, for the most part, for a good, 5 to 15 laps, depending on the track that you're at and how you drive it, the Cup car you can hold flat out. Where these Xfinity cars, you really have to manage your throttle here and play around with it a little bit more, and it definitely plays dividends, really tests your ability as a driver.
Yeah, one of the biggest things on that is the aero package with that big spoiler that Dale Jr. famously talked about there in one of the Cup races.
Yes.
So that's one of the big things is the aerodynamic differences of the car. And the off-throttle time's a lot more in the Xfinity car. The Cup car, like you said, you could drive it, you can hold it wide open in a Cup car at a lot of tracks for a few laps. An Xfinity car is very difficult to hold wide open if you can, just because of the aerodynamics of it.
Yeah, definitely for sure. it's really interesting because I've done, and I think you've done this too, where Extreme has hosted uh, the Cup car and the Xfinity car in the same session. And I've gotten into the Xfinity car, and I could pull away from a Cup car at some tracks going down these straightaways. But in the corners, here comes that Cup car. It basically is the equalizer for them.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating that the two cars race so differently from a driver's standpoint. And here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, for those of you fans that tune in on Wednesday night and Thursday night, we hope you tune in every night. But the Wednesday night and Thursday night crowd, you see the same drivers driving these things, like David Weishart, our leader, for example. He drives on both nights and puts on a heck of a show both nights. That's for sure.
Yeah, him and Alan Elwood both. And David, he's not only trying to go back to back in Cup, but he's actually just trying to sweep both Xfinity and Cup championships this year.
I wonder if that's ever been done at ExtremeMotorsports99.com.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Rick on that one.
We'll have to break out the record books.
Yeah, we definitely will.
It's times like this I wish I really had Larry McReynolds here with me.
Right. And the trends of the race, around here, we're going to have a caution.
You just said the word watch. It's going to happen now. You just put it out there in the universe.
Right. Well, I was watching the Cup race last Sunday at Phoenix, and Larry said with 35 laps to go, that's normally when the last caution is, and lo and behold, 35 laps to go, as he was saying it, Chris Buescher blew out a tire and wrecked his car.
It's funny how he can sometimes call those,
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I remember last season, there were a lot of times where he even tore up his notebook for like 5 or 6 weeks in a row. He was giving the trends, and he was wrong every time. He's like, guys, I've thrown out the notebook. There's no more trends.
Who knows what's going on at this point? But here's what I know what's going on in this Xfinity race right here. So we're about, where'd my number go? 27 laps? 28 laps into this run.
Yep.
And so these guys are stretched out a little bit. We're seeing a lot of single file right now. But where you're going to start seeing the moves is from the guys that took care of their stuff early on in the run. And they're going to start making their moves and picking up spots right here.
Well, Brandon Freese, he didn't pick up a whole lot of spots, maybe not as much as I was thinking, but he started 19th, and he's up into 13th spot, just outside the top 10, looking to keep with his game plan, stay consistent, and hopefully be in the top 10 by the end of this race. But you mentioned the fuel run here, about 28 to 30 laps already on these guys for fuel. They're going to have to pit here soon within the next 5 to 10 laps.
I was going to say just a little bit longer. I was going to say 10 to 15 laps, but yes, absolutely. We are going to be needing gas in these cars. Fuel, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to probably see that here around lap 55 or so with these guys probably ending their pit cycle here. But these guys are really keeping it clean and green. Everybody's pretty much all spread out. Not a whole lot of battles going on around the track. Really, the closest thing we've got is probably the lead, I would say, between David Weishart and, of course, Alan Elwood. And, of course, Cameron Hearn's kind of by himself, and a half second behind him is Bryce Senesac. But after that, it's all 3-4 seconds behind everybody, and everybody's just kind of biding the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And these green flag stops, if we get them, are going to be very interesting. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see who's really good at getting the car onto pit road as fast as possible. Of course, driving it down to the pit road, hitting the box, hitting your marks, getting the pit stop done, and then your out lap. So we've seen passing here before with these scenarios. With the guys that are really good at this, you could pick up, depending on where you're running, 2-3 spots, easy. Yeah,
and I've definitely done that here before. Maybe not at Chicagoland specifically, but I remember Atlanta last year in K&N. I was running about 12th. We had green flag pit stops, and I came out in the 5th position. So it's definitely doable. You could definitely gain a lot of spots coming in and out of the pits. Definitely going to be interesting. Of course, the pit road speed limit here tonight is 50 miles an hour. We might see some guys flirt with that speed limit and possibly go across that line.
Yeah, that's always a possibility as well. The other thing to look at is when are these guys going to make their stops? So we've got about 90 laps to go in this race.
Oh, Ed Morris hard on the wall here. He just went a lap down, and he is just bounced off the wall again. Nobody really around him. The leaders are able to get by, but Ed Morris just not having the night so far that he's been wanting.
Hate to see it for one of our playoff contenders out here. That's just a real tough shake for Ed so far tonight.
Yeah, he is definitely not off to the start that he has wanted. Of course, still got quite a few laps to go here. Maybe he could try to make that up, but with the damage here and the lack of cautions that we've had so far, definitely not looking good for him at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that you're going to want to look at, and that's what some of these drivers and teams are looking at right now, is when to stop. Last lap, our leader, David Weishart, ran a 32.363. Qualifying, he ran about, call it 2 seconds, well, not quite 2 seconds, second and a half faster. So he's lost about a second and a half. So when do you pit is the big question for these guys right now. Do you run it until you're out of fuel, or do you come in early and try to make up some time on fresh tires?
Yeah, and it's definitely always interesting. What I love about this series, not everybody has a spotter. There are a couple sprinkled throughout the field, but not everybody has a spotter crew chief type deal. We usually do that on Wednesdays and Thursdays when we're not up here, but definitely for these guys, interesting because they're kind of like their own crew chief as well when they're coming down and trying to make these pit strategy calls.
Starting to see,
and it looks like we are starting to see some green flag pit stops here.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing. Some of these guys are going to be starting to dive in here real soon.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of these guys already trying to make their way, gain themselves some time here on pit road, and very critical. You get down to it, and these guys are trying not to lose a whole lot of time, but you could definitely do that if you speed on pit road.
Then there's a couple of strategies when it comes to green flag pit stops. So a lot of these guys are going to want to come in, get their tires early to make up that speed like we were talking about just a few minutes ago.
Timothy Zayas on pit road as you're talking here.
And some of these guys are going to want to stay out because if somebody makes a mistake getting on pit road or off pit road and spins out, either on the old tires trying to come in or on the new tires that aren't warm yet, that's going to bring out a caution for these guys. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're out here running.
Yeah, when you're out here running, if you, it's definitely critical, especially coming off pit road. I feel like sometimes it's harder because you try so hard. You don't want to, mess up your race or anybody else's race. Because if you spin out on the apron here, sometimes you don't know where that car is going to end up. Sometimes it'll end up in the grass out of harm's way, and sometimes you end up on the racing surface.
Yeah, it could be a handful, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's more guys coming in here. Trying to find them as I see them. Looks like Brandon Freeze coming down pit road. So is Nick Hunt in the 00.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are starting to cycle through the pit stops.
Yeah, Cale Gale coming down
here.
pit road here as well. He's starting the 8th spot. So he's going to have the 8th pit stall from the exit of pit road. Looks like they're changing the tires on him right now and getting him ready to go back out there.
Jeffrey Creek looks like he's just pulled off for his stop.
And Garrett D. Grant doing the same thing. Right side tires are going on to the race car now, so as their crew swings to the left side.
Nicholas Vroman, Michael Thwaites also on pit road. Looks like Casey Duncan's in as well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys coming down pit road here. Obviously not going to see a whole lot of changes. Definitely going to see these guys take 4 tires of fuel. Nobody's going to do anything crazy as far as 2 tires, especially after they've been running, 40 laps. So a lot of these guys definitely going to take their 4 tires and gas right here.
David Weishart looks like he's in, getting his service as well. 4 tires, like you said, absolute no-brainer in my opinion right here, Gary.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Robinger also doing the same thing. Looks like he's making his way down pit road. So Tommy Haynes, same deal. Looks like Garrett Heath as well. Nicholas Vroman looks like he is getting ready to exit pit road. Same with Jeffrey Creek.
And it looks like Alan Elwood is now coming down pit road, and Cameron Hurd following him in. Cameron Hurd really driving it in there. Holy cow!
I don't think he came in there at pit speed. I think he might have a speeding penalty that he has to serve. But yeah, these teammates here between Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn coming down pit road here as Alan kind of blinked out on my screen there for a second. Blinked out again.
That leaves
go ahead.
That leaves GT Hawkins out here in the lead.
And
yet
he
to
has not
pit.
pitted yet. Looks like
Yep.
he might do that here in the next couple of laps. Now, here in Extreme, depending on how things cycle out, I know normally. Oh, GT Hawkins going to
Oh
miss
my
his pit
goodness.
stall. Oh, he's going to make it.
He got it. He's
I
in
don't know
there.
how he did it. I don't know how he did it.
Now
I would
that
have
was some
missed it.
driving right there.
That was definitely some good driving there by GT. But as I was about to say, these guys don't have to necessarily call out their pits. I know it does say it in the rule book, but it just kind of depends on the situation. Definitely for a place like, Daytona and Talladega, everybody calls in their pits. But if it's strung out like this, you'll definitely have some takers that'll definitely let you know when they're coming down pit road, especially if you're right on their bumper.
Yeah, that's some good courtesy that we have here in this ExtremeMotorsports99.com community. You don't really, I'm not sure how the rule book reads on that. I'd have to double check it, but you don't normally call it out. Like if this is real life, you wouldn't necessarily say, "Hey, bud, I'm getting ready to pit right now." Now your spotter might tap on the other spotter's shoulder and let him know. But if you're running really close to somebody, it's great communication to let them know that you're getting ready to pit. So that way nobody has any incidents.
Yeah, absolutely no incidents. Of course, everybody tries to have an incident-free race. We always do here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, but definitely one of those courtesy things. I know iRacing hasn't developed it yet, but I think they should. It'd be kind of cool if you could just hit a button on your keyboard and, you kind of wave your hand out the window. But I think that will come eventually.
That is a rad idea. I love that idea.
Yeah, and I know some people would like to take it the other way and, let them know that you're number one, too.
I love that idea as well. I am going to Twitter, and I am going to be tweeting at iRacing.
Hey, there you go. As we have pretty much cycled out through our green flag pit stops here. Looks like Cameron Hearn is going to be in the second spot. Good pit stop by Cameron Hearn. Entering and exiting pit road. Looks like Alan Elwood had some issues. It looks like his throughput. He fell out of the race. And that's our second place guy in points. He's going to be taking a big hit here tonight for that.
That's horrible. You hate to see it.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I know that's not how David Weishart wanted to, win this race, but, sometimes things do happen. We do have hardware failures every once in a while here on iRacing. Looks like Cameron Hearn might have bounced off the wall going into turns 1 and 2 that time. He's in second. Third place, we've got Cale Gale, Nicholas Roman fourth, Andrew Morass fifth, but it looks like not for long. Here comes Mike Rominger. He's going to try to take it in the sixth spot.
So Andrew Moraz pitted a little bit earlier than all these guys. He's got about 12 laps on his tires, where Rominger just passed him has 5 laps on his tires, which not a huge difference, but that could have been the difference in that spot right there.
Yeah, definitely. And when do you think the tires, especially if guys pit separately about 5 to 10 laps, when do you think those tires start to even out?
That's one of those things. It comes down to the driver. It comes down to the line and how aggressive he's being. If you've got 2 guys that are being extremely aggressive, those tires are going to probably edge out about 5 laps would be my guess.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Looks like Jeffrey Creek is going to also get around Andrew Moraz here, going up into the 6th spot, and Andrew's going to fall back to the 7th position.
Which, I don't blame the 99 here. It was a strategy move. He qualified pretty poorly out here tonight, and he was running right around 15th or so most of the night. Now he's up here in the top 10. He's running 7th right now due to pit strategy. So that's a really smart move on the 99 right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I think what he's probably looking for, maybe a caution here to kind of freeze up the cycle a little bit and maybe maintain his track position a little bit that way.
Absolutely. He gets a caution right here. He's in a really good spot. Same with guys like Brandon Freeze. Same kind of strategy right now. Caution comes out, and these guys keep their track position because everybody's going to be coming. Leader's got 9 laps on his tires now. He's going to be coming for sure. So if a caution comes out, it's really going to work out for these guys. If we go another long run, hard to say what it's going to be. We'll have to sit back and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we see Brandon Freeze kind of falling out of the top 10 now. He's back to 11th as Michael Thwaites and Tommy Haynes both went around him here. But Brandon kind of taking a different line, not really hitting that white line, but definitely kind of in between the first groove and the second groove, if you will.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about another driver. I was thinking about the guy that sat on the pole in the MaxSpeedTV car. And I wanted to check in on him. Looks like he's back here in the 15th position. Looks like he's going to be under attack by GT Hawkins for that 15th spot coming up right now.
Yeah, it looks like GT's going to take the bottom lane here going into turn one. It looks like Michael's going to let him have it. Michael, unfortunately, not having the greatest of runs here within the last 30 laps or so. It looked like he might have hit the wall in the lead earlier, or battling for the lead up there in the top three, and it looks like the car just hasn't been the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking over in chat. Looks like Eminem's Racing Late Night is calling for a crank it up. And looks like Joshua said once we get it back to some packs, we're going to do some crank it up. So I'm excited. I never want to see a caution, but I hope we get one so we can get a crank it up. I love the MaxSpeedTV crank it ups.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Josh has a camera for it here, but always the next best thing. We always get that cockpit crank it up as well. It'll be interesting to see which driver Andrew or Josh decides to pick tonight. Maybe we'll give him some insight on that. But looks like so far, Cameron Hearn has actually reeled in our leader for the most part, David Weishart. He has just been on a rail here these last couple laps. I've been watching him.
Yeah, I've been watching. I went back to watching this 99 car work at his strategy play. He's under attack. He's running 10th right now. 23's coming to the inside of him, and he's going to be under attack right now between the 23 and the 2 car.
Yeah, and the 2 is also his teammate, Brandon Fries. He's going to try to get down to that bomb of the racetrack. Now they're side by side here for the what looks like it'll be the 11th spot here.
Yeah, so good action all over the racetrack.
Looks like Brandon Fries almost kind of tagged the wall there for a second coming into turn one.
Well, you got to make it exciting out there.
Oh, yeah, got to make it exciting. But that just kind of shows you as well as we see Moraz kind of hit the wall on the exit of 2, that these guys are looking for every single inch on this racetrack.
Yeah, these guys are going to be out here hunting for grip. We're about 14 laps into this run for most of these guys. Like we talked about the 99 and the 2, they've been out here just a little bit longer. So their tires are starting to wear, so they're hunting grip anywhere they can find it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking here. The 25 has been really reeling in this 88 car over the last couple laps. Looks like it's down to about 2.5 tenths at the moment. Could go down to about 1 tenth here as they hit the line. Still right around at that 2 tenths mark, but definitely Cameron Hearn been the car that's been the fastest, at least amongst our leaders here the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he's putting down great lap times. I'm looking at lap times right now, and he is really strong. And David Weishart's gonna be under attack here sooner than later.
Well, if I'm not mistaken here, Blair, it looks like I believe Cameron he won the Atlanta race in the Cup Series, the first race of the chase. Now Atlanta, of course, not the same as Chicagoland, but it does have the same principles like I was talking about in pre-race, where saving your tires is key, and definitely David Weishart and Cameron Hearn both did that the best on in the Cup race here a few weeks ago at Atlanta, and now they're right back up front here again.
Yeah, both of these drivers are fantastic drivers. That's why they're up front almost every week, as you've hit on. So these guys are putting on a great show, putting down some really good lap times. Cameron Hearn's running a little bit different line there through the dog leg just to get a better run on Weishart. He's still reeling him in, though.
Yeah, still reeling him in, and he only got him down by another 0.003 of a second that lap, but every single millisecond counts, especially in these stock cars, with these cars being so evenly matched. But it looks like Cameron Hearn really starting to reel him in, trying to get in his draft now to hopefully gain a little bit extra speed.
Yeah, that's going to be one thing that he's focused on.
And he gets a heck of a run when he goes down to the dog leg like that. I'm surprised he hasn't hit the wall any harder there going into turn one, but he gets it right back up there just to make that arc into the turn.
Yeah, and that's something that he's playing with right now. He's playing with the draft versus clean air versus the dog leg, which is basically a bit of a shortcut, completely legal. You see a lot of guys use it. So this is what he's playing with right now, trying to figure out what he needs to do to get around this 88 car.
Yeah, and of course we see David Weishart taking a little more conservative line, taking the longer way around, so to speak, staying on the banking. And of course, like you alluded to, there's no yellow line or white line rule here. You can go anywhere on this racetrack. Everything is legal, unlike, when we go to Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, so like you said, if you can find grip there and it's working for you, have at it, especially here at Chicagoland. Now, Weishart's taking the dog leg. He's taking the run away from Cameron Hearn, so he's either been doing a little mirror driving or he's got a spotter letting him know that Cameron's getting a really huge run through that dog leg and you might want to try it out.
Definitely a little bit of both. I don't think David has a spotter necessarily, so I think he's been doing a little bit more of that mirror driving, and it's definitely keeping Cameron Hearn at bay for sure.
Now, looking at lap times, David's just a little bit quicker than Cameron these past couple of laps, but that 25 car is not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, that 25 car is not going anywhere. VRA, just in general, as a team, with Cameron Hearn, Jeffrey Creek, Alan Elwood, these guys just in general have been fast at all the mile and a halves. Doesn't matter if it seems to be, Xfinity, Cup, the trucks as well. They just seem to be good at all these mile and a halves.
And if I remember right, they're leading the Xfinity points as team points.
Yeah, let me double check that. Yes, VRA is number 1 right now, and they're actually 110 points ahead of Samson right now in second. So VRA has really been knocking the socks off here. Their first season as a team in ExtremeMotorsports99.com, and they have a really good Xfinity program.
Yeah, right now Samson out ahead of VRA for on the racetrack. Looks like they're coming up to Ed Morris to put him a lap down.
Yeah, to put him another lap down, unfortunately for Ed.
Yeah, just a rough night out there for the 7 machine in that Primetime Motorsports car.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like they're going to be catching Nick Hunt here in a little bit as well. He's going to be the next car to go 2 laps down. But it looks like overall, everybody just keeping it clean and green. Not really a whole lot of action going on around this racetrack. Looks like maybe a battle for 4th is starting to brew between the 95 of Nicholas Roman and the 83 of Cale Gale. But other than that, pretty much been pretty even here. Maybe a battle for 9th here in a little bit between GT Hawkins and Garrett Heath. These guys battling for, it looks like, what will be the 9th position.
So I was looking at lap times 2 laps ago when they were passing Ed Morris to put him another lap down. Cameron Hearn was a little bit faster. Now that Weishart had a more clean air that last lap, he was faster than Cameron Hearn there. So
yeah,
Cameron Hearn's still not going away.
Yeah, still not going away, but David really been taking his line away here the last couple of laps as well. So Cameron's going to have to find a different way to approach it here. But the 99 here, Andrew Mraz is on pit road. Looks like the cycle of green flag stops is starting to begin again.
Yeah, probably a scheduled pit stop for him because he pitted early last time. So this is probably a strategy move. He's made his bed. He's laying in it. I know his crew chief's a little busy tonight, so he's making all the calls over there tonight.
Yeah, you are normally the crew chief of his car, for sure. Well, I definitely do appreciate you taking the time to be up here, but I know you and Andrew always got something up your sleeves as far as the pit strategy goes.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. Just like a lot of these other teams sit here and try to figure out what's the best way to play the hand that you're dealt. And I'm looking at these lap times again. Cameron Hearn is still all over David Weishart. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it looks like that clean air is starting to play a factor. But it looks like David is starting to catch, I think that's his teammate of Garrett Grant. Yes, that is Garrett Grant, just ahead of that 88. Going to be putting his teammate a lap down.
Yeah, those Northern Capital Samson machines, always good-looking paint schemes in whatever series that we watch here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, here on MaxSpeedTV. But you hate to see it when one of the teammates is lapping the other teammate, but man, those are some good-looking cars.
Yeah, they really are. Doesn't matter whether they're running first or if they're running, 21st in Garrett's case, but they all look good.
I'm
it looks like Michael Mueller is making his pit stop as well, just now coming off of pit road here. He's going to fall a lap down to our leader here.
I'm over here looking in the chat. A lot of chat going on tonight. And Eminem's Racing Late Night made a comment, green and clean racing, y'all, and that is for sure.
Yeah, definitely for sure. These guys have really been all spread out. We would love to do a crank it up, but really don't like doing it when they're all spread out like this. So maybe if we get a late race yellow, depending on where it's at, we'll definitely have to throw one in there for sure.
Yeah, not near as entertaining when they're spread out like this.
Yeah, definitely not. And it looks like really the only other battle brewing here going to be for that 12th spot between Brandon Freeze and David Elliott. Brandon, of course, in that 2-car, running the 13th spot, started 19th. David Elliott hasn't gained, hasn't lost any. He started 12th, is currently running that 12th position.
Just hanging right in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys are definitely running really good here tonight. Looks like everybody's been very respectful here, Blair, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, we've seen some great driving out here, and there's 7 in the wall again. But there's some really great driving. Now, one thing to watch here as David Weishart's catching Tommy and Massey is watch how these lap cars race the leader. Now, a lot of these guys are going to race hard to try to keep their lap and not lose a lap. But
Tommy
when
just
they
let him go
realize, when they realize that they've been had, they pretty much just get out of the way. And that's just good racing etiquette.
Yeah, and with these guys, they always race hard to stay on the lead lap. But kind of like what you were saying, when these guys are already a lap down, most of the time, they'll just get out of your way. They'll let you go on through and keep racing. And that's why I like late in the race, especially if there's ever a battle for the lead, when these lap cars just kind of get out of the way and let these guys have at it. Definitely does show the true courtesy like you're talking about.
Yeah, it just goes to show the community that Rick Donathan and all the admins have built over here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. It just adds for really fantastic racing out here.
Oh, yeah, definitely for sure. As we see, are there more cars coming down pit road here, Josh? I really haven't been seeing any here the last few laps. It looks like not a whole lot of pit stops are happening. Probably here in the next, what are we doing here, Blair? Probably the next 5-10 laps or so, you think?
Yeah, David Weishart's got 33 laps on his on this run of tires, so we should be seeing him about any time now, along with all the rest of the leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of throws me off a little bit when we see, Andrew Moraz pulling a different strategy than the leaders, and he's the first car in. I just assume, everybody's gonna fall in after that, but not the case yet.
No, that's one of the really fun things about Chicagoland Speedway. These Xfinity cars and these green flag runs is you get to see a lot of different strategies play out right now. I've been looking at lap times. I feel like I've been talking about lap times for 30 laps now, but Cameron Hearn and David Weishart are passing back and forth who's the fastest each lap right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like there was another pass here for the 13th spot exchanging hands. Brandon Freeze and Casey Duncan, of course, they're teammates. Brandon was up ahead of him, and Casey was faster, and Brandon said, go ahead and go on by. For something to that avail, we're on downforce, so we kind of get a rough idea of how these guys are talking down there.
He might have pressed that button on the keyboard that just gave him the old wave by button.
Yeah, right, definitely for sure. They really need to get on that though at iRacing, I'm telling you. And it looks like the battle for the lead is kind of reeled back in here a little bit. Cameron Hearn maybe cooled off his tires a little bit just before this cycle of pit stops here, but he is tracking down that old 88 machine.
Yeah, last 2 laps he's been a little bit faster than David. About a tenth faster than David on that last lap.
Yeah, it looks like I thought I saw more cars coming down pit road here. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but
no, I thought I saw the 87 of.
It looks like Welzenbach here,
and Welzenbach down there,
and of course Ed Morris. He's coming down for his scheduled pit stop as he's 3 laps down now, but definitely starting to see the cycle coming on through here. It looks like the 87 is getting ready to exit pit road, get back up onto the racing surface here. And you definitely need to keep it down there before that blue commitment line. I don't know if you guys could see it on the broadcast, but that blue commitment line allows you to merge up onto the racetrack after you cross it. If you cross it beforehand, iRacing will give you a good old black flag, and you'll have to come down and serve a pass-through.
And that's the worst thing to do, especially on a race like this that's going green. You definitely don't want any penalties on pit road. No speeding, no unsafe entry, no unsafe exit, which is if you merge too early, you just can't afford a black flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't afford a black flag. Because that's almost just as bad as the speeding penalty.
Oh yeah, it could be detrimental. Seeing that we're within what's 44 laps to go here. It looks like 45 laps to go. It'd be really hard to bounce back, especially under green flag conditions like we've been having so far.
Yeah, absolutely for sure. And these guys here still kind of battling here for 1 and 2. Cameron Hearn still being on the back bumper there of that 88. Going to be interesting when these guys decide to pit, or they pit at the same time, or maybe they pit a couple laps apart. That's always interesting when the leaders do that.
Well, if they pit at the same time, look for Cameron Hearn for that big bonsai run on the
Yeah,
pit road
absolutely.
again. I mean, this guy took advantage of getting on pit road.
Yeah, he dug it all and he gained. I think he was at the back end of the top 5 around that 5th spot, 6th spot, and then when the cycle was over, he was already up into 2nd. So he definitely knows how to get on and off pit road. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Bryce Sinisak, he's in for his service right now in the 09 machine.
Yeah, it looks like we got
David
a couple
Elliott's
more
also
disconnects here with Alan Elwood. Of course, he already disconnected earlier after he had a throughput. Timothy Zayas also disconnected as well here.
Looks like we're starting to see a couple more guys. Looks like I saw Jeffrey Creek down on pit road, Cale Gale, Mike Rominger all pitting this lap.
Yep, absolutely. And these green flag pit stops very important. Mike Rominger, like you said, Rominger, however you pronounce his name, I'm still figuring it out. He's coming down pit road here. Jeffrey Creek, like you said, Gary May as well in the 10 car. He's exiting pit road actually. Just finished up his stop.
Looks like David Weishart's in.
Yeah, David Weishart's going to be in. That means, of course, Cameron Hearn's not going to be too far behind here in the next couple of laps. Nicholas Roman's down pit road. GT Hawkins going to stay out here. It looks like Tommy Haynes is also on pit road. Pretty busy place right now. Michael Thwaites as well. And, of course, Garrett Heath in that 23 machine.
I've got my eyes locked on Cameron Hearn because I want to watch him enter pit road again.
Yeah, I think we all are looking forward to that.
He did such an amazing job the first time, so I'm really looking forward to it this time. I've got my eyes just glued to him. I thought he was coming that last time, so I was getting excited.
Yeah, we're both definitely going to be keeping an eye on him. Looks like Gary May on the newer tires here. He's going to try to get around this 25 car.
Getting a lap back the old-fashioned way, it looks like.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and when you have such new tires like that, pretty easy to do at a place like Chicagoland. It looks like Cameron Hearn is going to be coming down pit road this time.
Oh, yeah, here he comes.
He's slipping and sliding all his way down here, and he got it in there. He came in, hit the timing line at he hit the timing line at 48 miles an hour, so he had 2 miles an hour to spare right there. I don't know how he
gives out lessons in his free time on how to get it on pit road.
He must have that brake bias. I know we didn't talk about it much at all during the broadcast here, Blair, but you have control of that brake bias, so he definitely has it lean more towards the front when he's trying to get down to pit road.
Yeah, and for those of us out here watching in YouTube land, watching us live, we've got 25 of us watching out here. Don't forget to hit the like button. But if you don't know what Gary's talking about on the brake bias, what that is, these drivers have an adjustment in the car to put more pressure on the front brake rotors or the rear brake rotors. And what Gary's talking about is putting more pressure to the front brake rotors
so that
coming
way
in here as well. More stable.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to be more stable coming on to pit road, and especially when you're trying to stop into your box, especially on these old tires. But yeah, definitely great explanation. More pressure on the front brakes or the rear brakes, just kind of depending on how you're feeling on the racetrack, and then of course on pit road. Justin Gann exiting now. Looks like Cameron Hearn is. Looks like David Weishart's our leader. And then it's Cameron Hearn. He's got 3 seconds. Looks like 3.3 seconds to catch up here on our leader.
Yeah, this is an exciting race. I'm watching some of this racing back here deeper in the field right now with these different tire strategies that these guys are on. There's some really good passing going on out here.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like the passing's starting to heat up here. Looks like a little more give and take is starting to go out the window. A little bit more take here as we get to the end of this race. But here comes GT Hawkins. He's all over the back bumper now. Michael Thwaites for that 11th spot here. Or 10th spot, I'm sorry. Here comes GT Hawkins, going to take that 10th spot away now. And Garrett Heath, of course, not too far behind these guys as well.
Yeah, GT's on a roll right now. So now we go back to talking about that 99 and his interesting pit strategy. So he pitted early, which got him in the top 5. Then he pitted early again, which dropped him way out of the top 5. He's currently running 8th. But he's got 22 laps on his tires, where our leader, David Weishart, has 5 laps on his tires.
Yeah, and that's where it's definitely playing big dividends here with Andrew Moraz being halfway on his fuel run now, close to the end of it, actually. He's going to have to pit again, but definitely has an interesting strategy up his sleeve. I think these guys are going to be very close on gas. They might make it to the end, not quite sure.
Yeah, we talk about Cameron Hearn getting on and off pit road and how great of a job he's doing. Big shout out to David Weishart. Now remember, those guys...
He just went up to him right there.
Oh, yeah. Those guys were within 2/10 of each other out there on the racetrack before pit stops happened. David Weishart's now out about 3.5 seconds on Cameron Hearn. So David Weishart really putting on a clinic out here.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a 10th here, a 10th there, and a couple of different places when you come into pit road and coming off pit road, especially how you enter your box. That definitely determines how long your pit stop will be, because it depends on how much your crew guys are going to have to work around the car. You gain a couple hundredths, a couple tenths here and there, definitely turns out to seconds on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's just one of the really important things that you got to focus on. I mean, these drivers have to stay focused for 133 laps through pit stops. I mean, this isn't as easy as it looks, guys.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, we got 25 watching here, still maintaining at 17 likes. Come on, guys. I know I set that expectation for 20. Let's go ahead and try to grab it. Now we're up to 19 likes. Come on, guys. Let's hit 20, if not 25 here in the next little bit.
I love likes.
Me too. But you know what I don't like? Dislikes.
We don't have one of those yet.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Glad to hear that.
And Eminem's Racing Late Night says that you're doing a good job.
Well,
Actually, great. He said great.
A great job. Well, thank you very much. I definitely do appreciate that. I don't do this very often, so definitely try to give it my best shot. Well, of course, I do it every week in K&N, but definitely a more different role being up here. Looks like Nick Hunt has been kind of waving in that he's pitting in. I don't know if that's actually happening or if that was just from earlier. What I get to see that you guys don't see on the broadcast is I kind of see in the driver's chat what's going on, and drivers can actually hit a button on their wheel or on the keyboard, certain code words like pitting in and those kinds of things. So it really makes these drivers pay attention when you definitely see something like that popping up.
Well, here in the rule book at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, it says you have to have a working microphone as well. So
yes,
for those of you that have done iRacing and not necessarily here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, you see a lot more of those hotkeys, if you will, on the pitting in, pitting out, in hosted or not hosted races, open
the
races.
official races, yeah.
Yeah, the official races. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, G.
Yeah, no problem.
So you see a lot more of that in those than you do here. This is mainly going to be communicated with the mic.
Yeah, and of course it's definitely good for the drivers as well to have a working mic, because say, you're coming down pit road under caution, and sometimes iRacing will give you that black flag for passing under yellow. Well, you didn't do it. You didn't pass under yellow. You were just on pit road. And so sometimes if you can communicate that to the admins, they'll take a look at it, and they'll definitely either clear that black flag for that EOL, or they'll let it stand, one of the two. So definitely that's one of those things that's very important. And I think it's really going to play a key role next week at Homestead, and we'll get to that later on, but next week. But with how that access road is, it's definitely very tricky.
Yeah, Homestead, we still got 28 laps to go here in Chicago, but Homestead, that's going to be an exciting race next week. I'm really looking forward to that as well. A lot of different things about that track that make it very unique. A lot of people, you hear the casual fan complain about the 1.5 miles, but the thing is, a lot of these 1.5 miles are, sure, they're similar. I get it, in distance, but they have a lot of different characteristics in how they race.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. As we're seeing a nice little battle here behind our leader, actually, fourth position, between Michael Mueller and Matthew Welzenbach. Looks like Welzenbach has taken that 18th spot. Michael Mueller going to fall back to the 19th position. But I just got word here. It looks like we will make it to the end on fuel for all of our leaders here. So no more pit stops. It looks like, unfortunately, unless something comes in his favor for Andrew Mraz, he's already down pit road here, but he's going to need a caution.
Yeah, that strategy that we've been talking about here tonight, as of right now, does not look like it's going to be working out for him. But I'm watching back here in fourth place. They're going around Ed Morris, who's a lap down that we've talked about before, but Jeffrey Creek is all over the back of Bryce Sidisak.
Yeah, he's all over the back of Bryce Sidisak here. And then, of course, Nicholas Vroman right there, too, in the 95.
Yeah, some really good racing going on right now.
Yeah, this battle for fourth is definitely the most intriguing battle here right now on the racetrack.
Yeah, some really, really good racing out here tonight. These guys, you know, being able to run this many laps and keeping it clean. I mean, this is just fantastic, and it just goes to show how good these drivers are, how good this league is, how good these admins are, and just keeping everything straight. I mean, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, we've only had one caution tonight, which is pretty remarkable. Because normally we get a couple back-to-back, and then it kind of fans out. When we just had one here tonight, so definitely some really good racing as this battle for fourth is still heating up. Looks like Bryce Sidisak has gotten blown by here a little bit. Going to fall back to that sixth position, but these guys definitely not over. These guys are definitely giving it all they got as they got about 24 laps of racing to go here.
Yeah, some really good battles going on all over the track right now. Looks like the battle for 10th place is starting to heat up with David Elliott in here. So I'm just going through and watching and seeing who's going to come up here and challenge our leader for this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like it's been staying right at around 2 seconds. I know Cameron's really been eating into that lead here these last couple of laps. May not get going right away in that first 5 to 10 lap stint, but it seems like after 15 laps, his car really seems to come in and turn better through the center of the corner. So definitely going to be interesting to see if Cameron can get to the back bumper of that 88.
And I think he can. I'm looking at lap times here. Cameron Hearn is definitely faster than David Weishart right now. And
David has also been battling a lot of lap traffic here in the last couple of laps. He's got Brandon Fries right behind him here, trying to put him 1 lap down. Brandon Fries, of course, trying to stay on that lead lap.
Yeah, it's not an easy task out there being the leader, because Cameron Hearn's been on rails all night, so he's going to be running up there to him here sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Brandon not making it easy. And of course, he doesn't have to make it easy. He's going to definitely be fighting hard as much as he can to stay on the lead lap, probably hoping for a caution right here. But looks like David's going to finally get down to the inside of that 2 car and put him a lap down. Oh, real tight here between those two, coming off of 2. Everybody makes it through, though.
Yeah, I'm just watching this gap here. Cameron Hearn's got it down to about 1.5 seconds right now on David Weishart. After pit stops, I thought it was about 3 seconds, wasn't it, Gary?
It was 3.5 seconds, actually. It was almost 4 seconds at one point.
So he's making up some time.
I don't know where he's made it up at, but he has made it up. I would assume probably middle of the corner.
Yeah, now I'm watching out in front of David Weishart. He's got clean air in front of him. Cameron Hearn's going to have to get around Brandon Fries here. So they're depending on how hard Brandon Fries fights Cameron Hearn, that's going to determine how Cameron gets back up to David here. Now, what my guess is, Brandon's going to let Cameron go, because David was the leader for the lap down. This guy's second place. Let him go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got 19 laps of racing to go here at Chicagoland. David Weishart still our leader. Cameron Hearn, about 1.5 seconds back or so. Definitely working as hard as he can to try to reel in that 88 machine.
Yeah, it's exciting to know that these guys are going to be able to make it on fuel here. So this.
Well, and Josh was telling me it will be close, but they definitely can make it. So.
This is going to be it's going to be a good finish here.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to jinx it anyway. Why not? Screw it. I'm up here in the booth. I don't have to worry about driving down there. But Blair, we always got to talk about it. Green, white, checkered. They get 1 attempt here in ExtremeMotorsports99.com.
That is correct. and there's advantages and disadvantages to the one attempt of the green-white checkered, in my opinion. The advantages, you don't necessarily finish under caution because you have the opportunity of the green-white checkered. The downside is you only have one attempt, so you might end under caution.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's definitely a downside for sure, but definitely has its pros and cons. That's when we'll definitely see these guys driving their brains out, so to speak. As we're actually looking here, I've been watching this a little bit. Jeffrey Creek and Nicholas Rowan have been running down this 9-car of Mike Rominger here, getting within a second of them. Should be an interesting battle for the 3rd spot here, and not too long.
Yeah, these guys are coming pretty strong here. Mike Rominger's having a good run. Working around the lap car of Michael Mueller right now, but he's definitely got some heat behind him. Looking over in the chat, my mom says hi. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Blair's mom. Anyway, yeah, definitely cool to see these. Everybody, everybody from all walks of life definitely come in and watch these races. Whether it's these drivers, friends, girlfriends, wives, children, what have you. And of course, obviously, just random strangers too. They all always come in and watch, but definitely interesting and good to see the support that some of these drivers get. And Michael Mueller is coming down pit road, and he's going to get a speeding penalty. He came in at 63 miles an hour.
Oh,
that's
too
definitely
fast there.
That's going to give him a black flag penalty. Not sure if he's hanging it up for the night, but he's on pit road here. I think he might be a couple laps short here on gas.
Yeah, depending on his strategy, if he was mimicking the strategy of his teammate in
the
99.
25's around in the grass. Caution's out.
Oh, we got caution.
It's going to be interesting to see what happened to Cameron Hearn here. Oh, coming through turns 3 and 4 here, Josh. We're going to see here on the replay. Cameron Hearn digging it all he's got on the bottom. Looks like the 25 of Cameron Hearn, the 05 of Tommy Amassi make contact. Tommy Amassi all the way up against the wall. He was up as high as he could get. It looked like Cameron just pushing maybe a little bit too hard as the 05 is also coming down a little bit. Looks like a racing incident. Of course, we're not admins, so we don't make that choice, but looks like Cameron Hearn was able to actually walk away here without a whole lot of damage to his race car.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing. I'm re-looking at this replay as well. I don't think there's any damage to this car. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine as well. He only just bounced off the 05 just a little bit, but like you were saying, I don't think he's got a whole lot of damage. He's going to be able to just put 4 more tires on it and come back around here. He's got a little bit of wrinkled up damage on the right side of that car underneath the right front, but I think he's going to end up being okay as we're going to see these guys going to start pitting here. Pit road not open yet.
This right here,
and
we talked about the fuel. No brainer on the tires right here.
Yeah, absolutely. No brainer on the tires. I think they'll give themselves a couple extra gallons here for green, white, checkered. But we're going to take a step aside here, pay some bills, go to commercial break, and we'll be right back. And we are back from that quick commercial break. 10 coming into 11 laps to go. Probably going to be about 9 or 10 laps left when they take the green flag. Looks like we got a couple wave around takers here. The 87 of Zach Ogburn being one of them. But definitely going to be an interesting race. And of course, looks like Garrett D. Grant, looks like Nick Hunt as well as Matthew Welsenbach in the 29. They'll get their wave around with 1 lap to go. But Blair, I think this restart's going to be pretty wild here.
Oh, there's no think about it, Gary. This restart is going to be no holds barred. It is going to be on like Donkey Kong, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, definitely going to be an exciting restart here. We don't interview anybody with the 10 laps to go. I know we got 11 right now, but I'm not going to bother to pull anybody up here this evening. But this race, well, I'll just pull Joshua Medlock. It's going to get extreme here in these last 10 laps or so. Going to be all take, going to be no more give. All that give is out the window. I don't know what Rominger did on that last pit stop. Did he take 4 too? But he's up in the 2nd spot. Jeffrey Creek 3rd, Nicholas Roman 4th, and Cale Gale rounding out our top 5.
So I'm looking here. It looks like everybody took 4 tires that I can see here, Gary.
Okay. Well, what's going to be interesting, I think our wild card here this evening, Cameron Hearn, he's going to be restarting 17th or so. I'm interested to see. I'm anxious to see how he's going to get up through this pack here in the last 10 laps.
That's going to be something to keep an eye on. He's been bad fast all night long. He's been the real contender against Mr. Weishart in the late part of this race. So let's see what he could do from 17th. But don't take your eyes off of, Mike Rominger, Jeffrey Creek, Nicholas Roman, which is Joshua's pick, by the way.
And, of course, Cale Gale, your pick here this evening.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but because your guys led.
We'll go ahead and bring it out in the open. My guys led all race long. We're not going to talk about David Weishart. He's been out front dominating. 1 lap to go here before green, so we'll definitely take this over here as the lights are off on that Mustang pace car. Getting ready to go into turn number 3. These guys side by side. Looks like David Weishart again going to choose that inside lane here for this restart. And of course, with another restart means an all pause Animal Hospital green flag is about to come back out of here in the air. For them, good sponsor. Glad they were able to sponsor us here. But the pace car in turn number 4, getting ready to make that hard left turn and dive down off to the safety of pit road. David Weishart's going to be on the loud pedal. He's going green flag back in the air. We're underway here at Chicagoland. 8 laps of racing to go, side by side for second on back as they head into turn number 1.
Yeah, great racing so far. There was an awesome restart by all these guys. Jeffrey Creek got a really good jump. Mike Rominger still out here on the top side, trying to sort out where he's going to go.
Yeah, and his car has really been working to the bottom lane, so it's definitely going to be a challenge for him to find his way back onto the bottom, being on that top side.
Yeah, Nicholas Roman's holding that bottom down, not letting Mike get down yet. Roman's got him cleared, so top 3 are all single file, and you got 2 wide behind them.
Yeah, 2 wide behind him, and Cale Gale was getting a push there. Looked like from the 09 of Bryce Senesac. Definitely going to help him down these straightaways. It looks like they're going to be about 3 wide here with Bryce Senesac. These guys 3 wide coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, 3 wide, Bryce Senesac, Mike Rominger, and the 12 of Michael Thwaites. They
got real tight right there. Getting real tight again here with Michael Thwaites. GT Hawkins putting his nose in. The night car sideways. What a save there.
That is some wheeling by Mike Rominger right there. Him and GT look like they got into it just a little bit. Great save by the number 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to lose a lot of time, going to fall back to the 12th position. These guys still not done back here. These guys are driving their brains out. Look at Justin Gann. He's driving really hard. Brandon Fries in the 2 car. And look at Cameron Hearn. He is up into looks like the 16th spot. Going to try to get up here and make some noise with these guys. It's going to be very hard for him to make all these passes here in like 10 laps.
Yeah, the march is on for Cameron Hearn. You hit the nail on the head when we were under caution. The give and take, all the give is out the window. These guys are full take right now, and this is awesome racing.
Yeah, definitely awesome racing. The most aggression we're going to see all night is right here in these last 10 laps. Looks like David Weishart has been able to drive away Cale Gale up into the 3rd spot now. He's all over the back bumper here of Jeffrey Creek in the 51.
Oh, yeah, this race isn't over. So Weishart's got about a 2nd lead out here, but these guys behind him are battling it out still.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a battle here. It looks like for the 2nd spot, but these guys definitely all over each other. Going to be interesting to see if anybody will be able to catch that 88.
Yeah, I've just looked back at Cameron Hearn. Looks like he's gotten stalled out a little bit behind Mike Rominger. These guys are still too wide back here, so it's really hard for Cameron to make his charge back up to the front.
Yeah, he's going to probably need another caution, and probably, depending on how much he wears off these tires here, he might have to stay out in order to get his track position back.
Yeah, Justin Gann, Gary May going door to door through turn one here, right behind Casey Duncan in that really good looking Mountain Dew car. And then right behind them is the number 9 of Rominger and Cameron Hearn. And this is all right around the 14th spot.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mike, he made some contact there with GT, and ever since then he kind of has been dropped back like a rock. But these guys here still battling very, very hard. A lot of 2 wide. I haven't seen much 3 wide other than that one little part there for it looked like for the second position earlier, of course. But these guys racing very, very hard here tonight.
Yeah, it's just an absolute fantastic racing. Just a couple of laps to go here. So if they've got anything left, they are putting it on the table right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, for sure. And the 30 and the 11 are side by side, real tight here, door to door, coming through turns 3 and 4. And Justin, one of our more aggressive drivers, Casey, very aggressive himself. These guys, it'll be interesting to see if they give each other any room here coming down to turn 1. Looks like nobody's really giving here.
Watch it up here at second place. Cale Gale got in underneath Jeffrey Creek, just drove around him. Cale Gale up to second place now.
Yeah, Cale Gale up to second place, but I think he's going to run out of time here to catch our leader. The leader coming through turns 3 and 4, coming to take the Lodge Box 1 to go here. And of course, our White Flag Lab is sponsored by Lodgebox for all your building and construction needs across the Southeast United States. Visit lodgebox.build. Build with us. David Weishart led a lot of laps here tonight. He has dominated this race, putting on a clinic. He is going to win this race by a little over a second. Coming through turns 3 and 4 as we still have a battle for second brewing here. Battle for third. But coming off of turn number 4, the 88, David Weishart in that Northern Capital Samson Chevrolet going to win it here at Chicagoland.
Man, what an absolutely great race. Great race by all these guys. This was some fantastic racing.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. David Weishart led 105 out of the 133 laps here this evening. Talk about domination. And, of course, as these guys are going through their cool-down lap here, David Weishart going to do some burnouts. We're going to grab these guys here for the MaxSpeedTV post-race show here for the Sam Speed Shop Xfinity Series for ExtremeMotorsports99.com. Don't go away. We're going to get ready to pull these guys up here. All right, and we are back here for the SimSpeed Shop Xfinity Series post-race show. Our third place finisher tonight is going to be Jeffrey Creek. Jeff, you finished third here tonight. Solid run overall. Definitely maybe not the result you're looking for, but nonetheless, very solid run and another consistent one for you this evening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I didn't get a lot of practice this week, actually, really none other than just kind of the warm up before the race. So I'm pretty happy with the third place car, considering about halfway through the race I was floating around like 10th. So
Yeah, definitely for sure. Well, you came into the race here tonight, fifth in the points. Definitely going to gain some here tonight with, of course, unfortunately, your teammate Alan Elwood having some issues there with the hardware. But next week we go to Homestead Miami Speedway, another mile and a half, but definitely one of the most unique ones. So let's talk about that race, kind of your expectations going into next week.
well, I mean, I love the track. I would love to make the race, but unfortunately, I'm going to be having a baby that day, so I won't be there. Points aren't really my thing at this point. I thought the baby was coming a little bit later, but we had to change the plan, so I'll be having a baby that day, unfortunately. Well, I mean, fortunately, but unfortunately, the same day as the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to take care of dad duty there. Parenting comes first for sure. Well, any shout outs, thank yous you want to give tonight as we let you go celebrate your third place run here?
Yeah, I got to tell David, good run there, as well as Kale. It was a hard race, especially there at the end. And then my teammates, I know Alan was really quick. He had some internet issues and got knocked out of the race there. And then Cameron as well. Cameron was super fast. I don't know what he got tangled up with the lap car there at some point. But shout out to those guys. Both of them are fast pretty much every week. So yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting. Thanks for Rick running the league and all the admins.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll let you go celebrate your third place finish again. Congratulations.
All right, thanks guys.
All right, and I believe Blair has caught up with our second place finisher, Cale Gale.
Kale Gale, you got me, buddy.
I got you. How y'all doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing after that second place run?
Well, like to have been one position better, but we just didn't have it in us tonight, I don't guess.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, David Weishart was really tough to beat out there, but you put on a really great show and qualified well and raced really well.
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, if it would have went green there, that last run, I short pitted the first green flag stop to try to get a little bit of time, which we did that, and then but that put me in a box there towards the end of the race. So if it went green, I had that last long run fuel stint. I was having to save some fuel to be sure that we got to the end. We were showing good to the end. So in hindsight, I was glad to see the caution after the results. So got a few more spots. But overall, it was a really good race. I had a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, you put on a really good show out there. Appreciate you sharing that strategy with us. That was one thing that we were talking about up in the booth. What was the biggest struggle with the car tonight? What were you fighting? Tight or loose? What was it?
I mean, for me, it's just a little bit tight off the corner, but the biggest thing was the car was really line sensitive tonight. Just being sure you hit the bumps right in 3 and 4. I kept wanting to get below the bumps and kind of clip the apron off of 4 and was making that mistake too often. Cameron and Weishart both had a really nice arc getting down into the corner and was able to get to the bottom. I tried that the first part of the race, kind of following that line, and then about halfway through the race, Mike Rominger was really fast on old tires, and he was driving a little bit straighter in with a little bit more brake. And I kind of went to that method about halfway through the race and seemed like it seemed to help me a little bit on the longer run.
Now, I know that we run fixed setups here at Extreme, but if this was an open setup, what do you think you would have fixed to help improve the way your car was handling over the bumps?
I mean, obviously that's a variety of different things, but, you know, a basic adjustment for the way the car was driving right now would have been, you know, honestly probably a simple wedge change. Maybe a little bit higher track bar or something to that nature. But, yeah, I mean, just overall, you know, I feel like iRacing made a change to this car. This car has been a little bit unstable down the straightaways and stuff. And tonight, that seemed to be really good as far as the stability down the straightaway. You were able to, you know, get a run and not be timid of cutting hard left and the car doing some kind of darty movement on you. So I feel like they fixed that. This car seems to be a little bit more stable overall. Just a little bit tight. You know, David and Cameron and even Alan Elwood, I know he had some trouble tonight. These guys are, and GT Hawkins is another one. there's 10 or 12 guys honestly in this Xfinity series right here that can win these races week in and week out. It's a really tough league.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's about all I got for you. G, you got anything for Cale Gale?
Nah, man, just want to congratulate you on your second place run, and we'll let you go celebrate. And of course, good luck to you at Homestead here next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all you do. We'll see y'all next week.
All right,
Absolutely.
sounds good, Cale. Enjoy.
All right, well, that'll bring us to our winner here. Of course, we got the Gatorade and Champagne Shower here in Victory Lane. David Weishart, another win. It's going to be his third win on the season. David, another good run. Led 105 out of the 133 laps tonight. Talk about your race run here.
I mean, pretty smooth overall. I mean, not a huge fan of this tight setup. I mean, it was really tight out there. As the night kind of wore on and the track got a little cooler, I mean, it gained a little bit of grip. But that just what happened was when it gained grip for fresh tires, and it invited you to wear them off quicker, and that's what I did the last two runs. I just kind of drove my stuff off a little too early because of the grip, and paid the price later. But I mean, other than that, it was smooth. Had a couple green flag pit stops. We only had 2 or 3 cautions maybe, so I'm really happy to see that we got some green flag running in. The outside lane had absolutely nothing. This was by far one groove track. I thought it was going to be a good battle between me and Elwood, and I heard they came down for a pit stop, and he got disconnected somehow. I had some throughput issues, so the points I don't think have updated yet, but shame that I think the championship might have to come down to that. I feel bad for that. So I had not any real connection issues, but my quality was dipping every now and then in the race. So I was a little concerned about that, but luckily I was able to avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Of course, you just mentioned it. Not the way you want to win the championship, but definitely going to win it nonetheless. But next week we go to Homestead, another mile and a half. Going to be another night race. Just kind of what's your expectations going to that? As Homestead tends to bring on some pretty good racing as well.
Yeah, it does. It's one of the tracks that you can run, up to like 3 lanes if you want to. So I expect a good race there. As far as me, depending on what the points go, that'll really or how they shake up when they update. That'll determine how I'm gonna approach that race. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to it being a really fun race, especially under the lights.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll let you go celebrate your win here early here tonight. But any shout outs, thank yous you want to give as you let you go?
Thank Sim Speed Shop for sponsoring the series. Thank Russ Anderson of Northern Capital and everybody at Samson Motorsports. Thank Rick Donathan. I got to thank y'all for broadcasting and everybody watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll let you go celebrate your win here tonight. We'll see you next week here at Homestead. And, of course, tomorrow night, Chicagoland for the Cup race.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, that brings us to toward the end of our post-race show here this evening. Of course, pending any admin things. Let's go ahead and hit our final results, Blair. Same deal as last time. First 10, next 10, and then we'll till we run out. Our winner here tonight, of course, David Weishart. Second place, we just interviewed him as well. Cale Gale. Third place going to be Jeffrey Creek. Fourth place going to be Nicholas Vroman, a good top 5 run for him this evening. Michael Thwaites in the 5th spot. 6th place is going to be Bryce Sinisak. 7th place is going to be Garrett Heath. 8th place is going to be Tommy Haynes. 9th place is going to be Jacob Bell. Crawled up from the 25th to the 9th position here this evening. Another good top 10 for him. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be David Elliott.
11th place was GT Hawkins. 12th coming home is Justin Gann. 13th is Casey Duncan with a good finish. Started 20th. Starting 24th and finishing 14th was Gary May. Cameron Hearn unfortunately finished 15th. Brandon Free 16th. Mike Rominger 17th. Garrett D. Grant 18th. Last one on the lead lap. 19th would be Matthew Walzenbach. 20th, Nick Hunt.
And, of course, 21st is going to be Zach Ogburn. 22nd, 2 laps down, is going to be Michael Mueller. Start on pole, going to finish 22nd here tonight. 23rd is going to be Darren Clement. 24th is going to be Andrew Miraz. 25th is going to be Ed Morris. Not the night he wanted to have, finishing 7 laps down. Then in 26th, we've got Tommy Amassi. 27th, Timothy Zayas. 28th is going to be Alan Elwood. And, of course, our admins in 29th and 30th, Andy Starcher and Don Kidder, respectively. Well, guys, tomorrow night we come here for the Cup Series at Chicagoland Speedway for Extreme Motorsports 99.com. The Rick Motec Cup Series, round 4 of the chase. Definitely going to be another exciting race. Blair, any final thoughts as we wrap things up here tonight?
Man, I just want to thank all the fans. I just looked over. It looks like 24 likes. I want to thank everybody for giving the likes. I want to thank you and Josh for having me here again. I want to give a shout out to Josh. Hope he's feeling better sooner than later. I know being sick's no fun whatsoever, but just wanted to thank everybody, all the racers, all the sponsors, all the admins for putting on such a great show. I had a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Always nice to have you up here in the booth. Well, I also want to give my fair share of thank yous. Josh, thanks for giving me the opportunity to go ahead and lead us out here tonight. Of course, SimSpeed Shops for sponsoring the Xfinity Series here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. Couldn't do anything without those guys. And, of course, Rick for putting on this series and letting us broadcast it for him. And, of course, all the drivers and fans that showed up here tonight. Couldn't do it without you guys. And just wanted one more final thought. Until next time, we'll see you tomorrow night. Stay safe and have a good night.